Hey y'all, happy Monday. It is your girl Duchess Charm, and y'all already know what Mondays are. I don't need no introduction, but I do need an introduction. Drop my intro. So guys, I've realized that for the past 2 weeks I've been speaking about men that unfortunately killed their spouses. Last week I spoke about Chris Watts. He killed his whole goddamn family for a woman. Like, that case, crazy. So this week I decided to switch up the thing, and we're going to talk about a woman. We will be talking about Casey Anthony, and let us jump right into it. Casey was born on March 19th, 1986. She was one of 2 children. She was a bright and personable young girl. There was nothing out of the norm. She had a normal childhood. However, Casey began a pattern of lying when she was in high school. You see, Casey was a few credits short of graduating, and she actually stopped attending school for a few months before graduation. But she did not tell her parents this. She did not tell her family this. Her family turned up to the graduation ceremony, and Casey was not walking that stage. Casey then again showed her true colors when she was 19. You see, Casey was a party girl. She was wild. She was crazy. She was just out there living her best life. I mean, she's 19, living in her parents' home, not doing anything really. So she just wanted to live her best life. Casey started to put on a little weight. So her parents were looking at her like, Casey, are you pregnant? Casey denied it. She even went as far as to say that she's a virgin. Well, Casey was no virgin, and indeed Casey was pregnant. A few months into her pregnancy, she decided to tell her parents the truth, and she had a discussion saying that she didn't really want to keep the baby. She wanted to put the baby up for adoption. Her parents, Cindy and George, they talked her into keeping the baby. They said, listen, we will help you to take care of this child. And Casey decided to keep the baby. The baby's father, that was a bit of a mystery. Casey did not know who the father was. It was either her fiance at the time or her ex-boyfriend who died in a motorcycle accident. As it relates to her fiance, it turns out that he was not the father, because after the baby was born, they did a DNA test and everything, and you know, you are not the father. But he was still in the child's life for a little bit. However, the father of the child really is not important in this case. Alright, so let's just move on. On August 9th, 2005, Casey gave birth to a beautiful baby girl who had her 10 fingers and her 10 toes, and she decided to name this child Kelly Anthony. Casey's parents and her fiance at the time, of course before he found out that this child wasn't his, all pulled together and they were helping her to take care of this baby girl. Kaylee's grandparents loved her so much. There are tons of videos with them. They love spending time together. They love taking care of this baby girl. Everything was perfect. Now fast forward to June 2008. Casey had an argument with her parents. Apparently, Casey was still living her party girl lifestyle. She still wanted to go out every night. She still wanted to do whatever she wanted to do. And she wasn't really the greatest mother. So Casey's mother, who was Cindy, kind of called her out on this. And this really got to Casey because it caused this huge argument. And Casey decided to leave the house in her car, and she took her baby girl. When she left the house, her parents did not have a clue where exactly she was and where she took their grandchild. They were trying to get in contact with her, and she would pick up the phone sometimes. And when they asked to speak to their grandbaby, Casey came up with some form of excuse. Either the baby was sleeping, or she was over a play date, or she was with the nanny. This nanny was Zenaida Fernandez Gonzalez, or Zanny for short, which is a bit funny. Zanny the nanny. Anyways, it was kind of strange for Casey's parents because they did not know of this nanny. This is the first time they're hearing this name. This is the first time they're hearing about this nanny. She has never came over to the house to take care of the baby. They've never met her. None of this. But nonetheless, you know, it's their daughter and they want to trust their daughter. Even though their daughter was a known liar, they said, you know, let us call again tomorrow. And tomorrow would come, they would call again, and it would be another excuse. July 13th, 2008. Casey's parents received a letter saying that Casey's car was at a tow place. A tow yard, actually. Now, George, her father, decided to go and pick up the car. And when he did, he found a few things that did not sit well with him. Firstly, Casey's purse was still in the vehicle. The baby seat was in the back seat where it should be, and there were toys all over the place. When he popped the trunk, it had a scent, a very strong odor. It was like something had died in there. So he called his wife, Cindy, Casey's mother, and told her what was happening, and his wife was on it. She was really worried. She wanted to ensure that her baby girl was fine. She wanted to ensure that her granddaughter was fine. So she decided to track her down. I'm not quite sure how she tracked her down, but she did. She eventually found Casey at her boyfriend's house. Where's the baby? Casey, very unbothered, said that the granddaughter was with the nanny. So Cindy said, well, take me to where my grandbaby is. Casey got in the car and she was driving around. She was aimlessly driving. This was a bit suspicious. They took her back to the house and she broke down in front of her parents and her brother, and she said that she had not seen her daughter in 31 days. I cannot imagine the shock that her parents must have felt when they heard this, because this is huge. Your daughter goes missing for 31 days and you tell nobody. You don't tell the police. You don't tell your family. You don't even tell your boyfriend, because the boyfriend did not even know that this child was missing. He thought that the child was by the nanny, just like everyone else did. So, of course, the parents were shocked, and Cindy, right away, she called the police.
There's something wrong. I found my daughter's car today, and it smells like there's been a dead body in the car.
Grandmother Cindy Anthony made a pair of 911 calls when she realized her granddaughter was missing. The first one was to ask police to come and arrest her daughter, Casey Anthony, and to report her granddaughter Kaylee was missing.
I have someone here that I need to be arrested in my home.
They're there right now?
A possible missing child.
During that call, Cindy Anthony also accused her daughter of stealing her car and money. 2 hours later, a much more frantic call.
I called a little bit ago, the deputy sheriff's son here. I found out my granddaughter has been taken. She has been missing for a month. Her mother finally admitted that she's been missing.
Cindy Anthony cries through the report to the dispatcher.
My daughter finally admitted that the baby's in the store. I need to find her.
Your daughter admitted that the baby is where?
But the babysitter took her months ago that my daughter's been looking for.
The grandmother goes on to describe the missing 3-year-old. Then the dispatcher asks to speak to the toddler's mother.
My daughter's been missing for the last 31 days.
And you know who has her?
I know who has her. I've tried to contact her. I actually received a phone call today.
The dispatcher gets some details from the young mother, then asks, why now?
Why are you calling now? Why didn't you call 31 days ago?
I've been looking for her and have gone through other resources to try to find her, which was stupid.
The police actually did not know where to start the investigation, because according to Casey, the baby was with the nanny and she was the one that just took the child. You see, the problem with this was nobody knew who this nanny was. As I said before, the parents didn't know, no one has ever met her, and this nanny was not mentioned any time before Casey got into the argument and left the house. The boyfriend has never met this nanny before, and just nobody. It's like this nanny just came out of thin air one day and she's taking care of the child, and she just up and leave with this child. When the police questioned Casey on why she did not come to the authorities and report her child missing, Casey's excuse was that she thought she could handle this on her own, right? And she also said that she was afraid that if she went to the media or went to the police, that something might have happened to her child. In addition to lying about the nanny, Casey told a whole lot of other little lies that were so irrelevant. She said that she was working at Universal Studios, and when the police said, okay, we would like to see your office, she took them there. She was taking them around the building and everything, and eventually she confessed that, hey, she doesn't work here anymore. She actually got fired a few years ago. She left, and this came as another shock because her parents didn't even know that she got fired from this job. It's like she just lied and lied and lied until she's backed up in a corner and has no other option than to tell the truth, I guess. On July 16th, Casey was arrested for child neglect. Now, you might think her behavior was strange, but you know what was strange? What she was doing while her child was missing. This woman was out partying, she was drinking, she was going to clubs. She even got a tattoo that says Bella Vita, which when translated from Italian to English, it means beautiful life. All this while her child was apparently missing. Casey claims that during this time, she was out there looking for her child and trying to find out as much as she can about this nanny and about her daughter's disappearance. The day after she was arrested, her vehicle was searched and cadaver dogs picked up the scent of a decomposing body in the trunk. This was not looking good at all. Casey stuck to her story that Zanny the nanny took her baby, and of course the police had to go out and cover all bases. So they were still looking for the child and they were still looking for the nanny. So they were out in these streets trying to find out any type of information on the baby's disappearance. Casey obviously wasn't much help. The case picked up a lot of media attention and it was sensational. Everyone wanted to know where exactly was this baby girl. Casey was still in jail on the child neglect charges, and her parents would visit her pretty often and they would update her on the searches and everything, and they would plead to her to please give more information, and Casey would be stone-faced and she would just be like, she doesn't know anything, the nanny has her, the nanny has her. On one particular visit, her mom actually asked if there is anything she would like to say to this nanny, and Casey said, oh, you know, just bring Kaylee back. That's all I'm asking you for. On August 21st, Casey posted bail and she returned home, but 8 days after, she was shipped right back on some identity theft charges and for forging checks. So I guess every liar really is a thief. On September 24th, after searching for this nanny for a few months, they finally found a woman that lived 31 minutes away. However, this woman was not related to the case at all. She didn't even fit the description. And she actually filed a lawsuit against Casey because this was crazy and her name was being tarnished. And right then and there, it solidified the fact that this nanny did not exist. Obviously, all eyes are on Casey because you're lying about something, your child is missing. We want to know the truth. But the truth came in a way that no one expected. On December 11th, 2008, a meter reader was out doing his job when he went into some bushes to have a pee. He then saw a bag on the ground and he had a strange feeling about this, so he poked at it with his meter reading stick. At first he thought it was a Halloween mask, and when he poked at it a bit harder and he tried to lift up the bag, a skull fell out, a human skull. He was so shocked, and there was duct tape on the mouth section of the little tiny skull. So of course he called the authorities, and they came, they collected the remains that were in a plastic bag, and 8 days later, on December 19th, those remains were confirmed to be the remains of little baby Kaylee Anthony. Where this man found her was in bushes near to the Anthony's home. So it was like, whoa, she was right here all along. Unfortunately, there was nothing much left of her. I know people find that a bit disturbing, but it was Florida and it's pretty hot there, and she was in a plastic bag just decomposing away. So by the time it got to the coroner's office, they really could not determine a cause of death because she was almost skeletal. 6 weeks after baby Kaylee's remains were found, her grandfather George actually attempted suicide. He failed, which is fortunate. He said that he really was in a bad space and he felt as if he needed to be with Kaylee. That is so sad. Now in June 2011 is when the trial started. When I tell you it was huge, a lot of people were invested in this trial simply because they were invested in this missing baby girl. You know, it was all over the place. It was televised. You know, you saw posters everywhere. It was a topic of discussion. So when the trial came out, a lot of people turned up. They were outside the courtroom. They were buying tickets to get inside the courtroom, like buying tickets. Tickets were selling on Amazon. It was selling on eBay. It was crazy. People were turning up to the Anthony home, harassing the grandparents, saying, what type of grandparents are you? They were blaming them for the death of little baby Kaylee. So it was a whole mess, and the trial, that did not make it even better. So let us get into the details of the trial. And also you have videos of the whole trial proceedings. You can find them on YouTube. I might be leaving a few links in my description box, but trust me, if you should search Casey Anthony trial, everything will pop up. Casey's defense lawyer really tried to paint Casey's parents as the bad guys, and then they gave a story that just threw everything out the window. It was so left field, no one was expecting it. So the crazy story was, baby Kaylee drowned in the pool in the yard. George saw this, did not want his daughter to get arrested for child neglect, therefore he disposed of the baby's body. And then she threw her parents further under the bus. They practically said she had to create this shell because she was being molested by her father, and when she saw him in other settings, he was behaving normal and everything, so she had to learn how to behave accordingly. So she developed this little lying persona, I guess. They also used George's suicide attempt against him, saying that the only reason why he tried to kill himself is because he felt guilty and he was the child's father and he didn't want this to come to light, so why not just off himself? However, a DNA test was done and it was proven that he was definitely not the father. Her brother also did a DNA test. He was not the father. They brought him into the picture because they said that he made sexual advances towards her as well, so they needed to clear him from the equation. Her father, though, he denied all of these allegations. The prosecutors painted Casey as a promiscuous party girl that was unconcerned about her missing daughter and the cause of her daughter's death. They said that her actions after her child went missing was perfect proof to show that she simply did not care. On July 5th, after about 10.5 hours of deliberations, the jury came back and they found Casey Anthony not guilty on first-degree charges. Can you guys believe it? Crazy, right? She received a 4-year sentence for lying to police and providing false information. But you see, because she was already in prison for a few years, they just called it time served. Casey Anthony spent 3 years and a day in prison and was released on July 17th, 2011. That's just 2 weeks after her trial. And then she got a year probation. She also owed the state some money because she essentially lied and had the state searching for her daughter when her daughter was not missing. Everyone that was invested in the case, they were shocked by this not guilty verdict. Like, they were upset. They were like, you guys are letting a killer go. She killed her child, and everyone was convinced. And based on the information, I'm convinced as well. Anyways, in 2017, Casey gave a series of interviews saying that to this day she does not know what happened to her daughter, but she could not give a about what anyone else thinks of her because she's okay with herself and she sleeps great at night. So now she does not speak to her parents, rightfully so, because she threw them right under the bus that she was driving, okay? And she was living with one of the private investigators that was working for her defense team, and she was working with him. We're unclear if they actually had a relationship or if she's still working with him now. The last update was in about late 2020 when it was said that she wanted to start her own investigative services. Nobody actually knows what happened to Kaylee Anthony, and obviously Casey's not going to say anything, or at least not anytime soon. Maybe eventually if she writes a book or something. But she was named the most hated woman in America, so nobody really wants to work with her. And nobody wanted to publish her book. Maybe that has died down and other people want to hear her story, but I really don't. I would just want to know what happened to that baby girl. So here's what's rumored to have happened. Based on some internet searches, there were some searches for how to make chloroform or chlorophyll. Either way, that is the gas that you make that knock people out. So it said that Casey probably googled this to make some of this to just put her baby to sleep, and she might have used too much and the baby died. Either that or she smothered the baby because there was duct tape over the baby's mouth and she did not know what to do with the body, so she just had the body in her trunk for a few days. Florida is hot. It is July, which is really freaking hot. She's just in the trunk boiling and decomposing, and that is why the trunk had such a bad smell. When Casey realized that her trunk is really smelling now, she took her decomposing baby's body, wrapped it up in some garbage bags, and she just threw it out by the bushes close to her home. It is crazy, and we really don't know what happened to that baby, and I think that is the most interesting part for me because I would want to know what she did to that child. Do I have any other suspects on my list? No, I do not. I wholeheartedly believe that that woman killed her child. Here are my thoughts on the whole case. This woman did not want to be a mother. It's very clear. She was young. She was 19. She was living a party lifestyle, and she did not want the responsibility of a child. So when Cindy, her mother, is pointing out that she's not a good mother, she's not doing what she should be, and she's feeling that pressure, she decides that the only way to fix this is to get rid of the child. Her parents were more than willing to take care of the baby. They just wanted Casey to be more involved in raising her child. As it regards to the allegations about her father, persons were analyzing this and saying it was so weird because Casey was really friendly with her dad during the trial. She was all huggy, you know, like just regular daddy-daughter type of interactions. So if this man scarred you like this, why would you be so comfortable around this man? And why would you be so comfortable having your daughter around this man? Would that not influence you to move out and get your own stuff and keep her daughter away from this monster? However, if that did happen and she actually was abused, that is a trauma that she needs to deal with on her own time. And for me, if she truly cared and she was not guilty, she would be out here trying to find the killer of her daughter. She would not be in interviews saying, oh, I don't know what happened to my child, but I didn't kill my child, so I am good. Like that does not sound like a grieving mother. She should be out there trying to find who did this to her child or what happened to her child. She would want answers. I think it's because of the lack of evidence why she was found not guilty, because it could have been an accident. You know, they did not know what happened to the baby. There are so many missing pieces, so the persons, maybe they were sitting down and they were deliberating and they were saying, well, we definitely can't give her first degree murder, you know. Even one of the jurors, when they were interviewed, she said, not guilty does not mean that you're innocent. So I'm assuming they tried to be as logical with this case as they possibly could. And when you actually look at it from a logical standpoint, all the evidence is circumstantial. There's no definite evidence that proves that this woman really killed her child. We know that she did it. We just need proof that she did it, and we don't have that, unfortunately. So the justice system is not a fairy tale. The jurors did the job that they came in there to do. So my darlings, that is it for my video, and those are my thoughts. I know that you guys have thoughts. I want to hear them. I love to hear them. Just share them with me, please. And remember, every time you comment, you get a chance to win some credit. Who don't want no free credit? So leave those comments. And of course, I will be leaving the links to my sources down in my description box. You can just go click and read for yourselves. And until next Monday, remember to be a beautiful soul, not just a gorgeous face. This is your girl, Duchess Charm, signing out. Mwah! Bye. When this was tight, it not tight.